A man hallucinates and hears God while on antibiotics. What happened? The man had a rare case of antibiomania. According to scientists, a man's perception of the world turned upside down after he began taking antibiotics to treat bacterial pneumonia, according to a report of his case. Within 2 days, the 50-year-old man, who had no psychiatric history and had never taken antibiotics in his entire life before that point, experienced mood swings, became irritable, began speaking incoherently. Such behaviors are symptoms of mania, a condition characterized by an abnormally high level of energy and erratic thoughts and behaviors. Upon being checked into an emergency psychiatric unit in Geneva, in Switzerland, the man told psychiatrists that the night after his first dose of antibiotics, he felt like he was dying and began experiencing auditory hallucinations that God was speaking to him, saying that he had been chosen for a special mission. These symptoms can be indicative of psychosis. Doctors diagnosed the man with antibiomania, a rare side effect of treatment with antibiotics, according to the case report. It was published in the journal BMC Psychiatry in August of last year. The term antibiomania was coined in 2002 review published in the Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology that examined case studies involving antibiotic-related mania. And according to Pascal Sienert, psychologist and psychiatrist at Catholic University of Leuven, KU Leuven in Belgium, who was not involved in the case report or the man's care, the timeline of the man's antibiotic intake and subsequent manic symptoms fits with reported cases of antibiomania. In a review of antibiomania case studies published in 2017 in the Journal of Affective Disorders, Sienert and colleagues covered 37 case reports, collectively describing 47 cases of antibiomania in patients as young as 3 years old, and another 143 unpublished cases documented by the Adverse Drug Reaction Monitoring Programs on the World Health Organization, WHO, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Sienert said, "I have seen in my own experience at least 3 cases, one with repeated episodes. My colleagues, they all have had some cases, so if you add up these numbers worldwide, there's certainly an underreported cases," he said. Sienert and colleagues found that clarithromycin, one of the antibiotic doctors prescribed to the man in the case report, is one of the most commonly implicated antibiotics in antibiomania cases, along with quinolone antibiotics, ciprofloxacin, and ofloxacin. They were the most frequently implicated in causing mania, but they are amongst the antibiotics that are most used worldwide, Sienert said. "My guess is that these antibiotics are the most used worldwide, and therefore we see more cases that these antibiotics associated with antibiomania." The researchers also noted that antipsychotics were used to treat some of the cases. He said, "In the majority of cases, these anti-manic agents were used, but again, that does not mean that the manic episode would not have improved without them. In this case, the common practice, if you see a mania emerging, that you use an anti-manic agent or get the mania over as soon as possible." While the man in Geneva ultimately did not end up needing antipsychotics, doctors did prescribe him lorazepam, a medication used to treat anxiety and seizures. The man's case illustrates that different kinds of antibiotics can trigger antibiomania. Initially, the man's manic symptoms emerged after he took the antibiotic amoxicillin clavunacin acid. Once he ceased treatment, the mania symptoms stopped. However, when he started taking another antibiotic called clarithromycin to treat the pneumonia, the mania symptoms returned, prompting him to stop antibiotic treatment again. A week after stopping antibiotics, the man no longer had manic symptoms, according to the case report. While the exact mechanism of interaction between antibiotics and the central nervous system, which includes the brain, of course, remains unknown, Sienert and colleagues laid out several hypotheses in their review. For instance, a few classes of antibiotics, including macrolides like clarithromycin and beta-lactams like amoxicillin, have been found to affect the brain GABA energetic system. The antibiotics act as an inhibitor to gamma aminobutyric acid GABA, a ubiquitous neurotransmitter that's responsible for tamping down excited nerves. Senior said that might explain why in these circumstances mania arises. By inhibiting an inhibitory neurotransmitter that results in excitatory function. Additional mechanisms proposed by Senior review include the ability of antibiotics to disrupt patients' gut microbes, as we all know, and cause dysfunction in mitochondria, which power cells. That's not good. The authorities of the case study also hypothesized that a drug-drug interaction between clarithromycin and amoxicillin clavulanic acid, I got that out, may have occurred due to their shared activity in GABA receptors. This is by John Arnst on Life Science. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.